All right, let's talk about what's happening in software development because it is in the middle of a massive shakeup, and it's all because of these new AI code assistants. They promise to make developers faster, smarter, more productive than ever. But like with any big revolution, there's always more to the story. Okay, let's dive in. And this quote, it just hits the nail on the head. This is the big tension we're going to explore. On one side, you have this incredible, almost magical promise of speed. But on the other, you've got a warning from an industry veteran about these hidden long-term costs. So what's really going on here? So first off, what even are these things? Well, the best way to think about them is as an AI pair programmer. Imagine an assistant that sits right there with you inside your code editor and works alongside you. It'll suggest lines of code, finish your thoughts, answer your questions. It basically just speeds up the entire workflow. It's kind of like having a coding partner that, never needs a coffee break. Now, the market for these assistants has totally blown up, but a few big names have really risen to the top. They're kind of the titans of this new industry. So let's meet the main contenders. Each one of these big players has kind of carved out its own niche. You've got GitHub Copilot, which is the undisputed champion right now. I mean, over half of all developers are using it. It's just a fantastic all-around code generator. Then you have Amazon Code Whisperer. Think of this one as the security specialist. It's deeply connected to AWS and even has security scanning built right in. And for companies that are really, really careful about their intellectual property, there's Tab9, the privacy advocate. Its killer feature, it can run entirely on your local machine, so your code never, ever gets sent to the cloud. So now that we know who the players are, let's look at their core promise, that incredible boost in performance, and the huge challenge that comes right along with it. This number right here. This is why everyone is talking about this. 55%. Let that sink in for a second. According to studies, that's how much faster developers can get their tasks done when they're using an assistant like Copilot. And we're not talking about a small improvement here. This is a fundamental change in how fast software can be built. It's a game changer. So, how on earth are they doing this? Well, they're automating all the boring, repetitive stuff. The boilerplate code that developers have to write again and again. They basically eliminate all that time you'd spend on Google looking for syntax examples. They can act like a tutor when you're learning a new language, and they can even write your tests and documentation for you. And all of this frees up developers to focus on what they actually enjoy, solving the hard, creative, complex problems.
But, and you knew there was a but coming. Here's the fundamental challenge that affects everything else. For an AI to give you a really good suggestion, it has to understand the context of what you're building. And modern code bases are enormous. We're talking millions of lines of code spread across thousands of files. So how can an AI possibly see that entire big picture?
Well, right now, there are really two main ways they're trying to solve this. On one side, you have tools like GitHub Copilot. They mostly use what you could call a neighboring tabs approach. It just looks at the file you're working on and whatever other tabs you have open. It's super fast and responsive. But on the other side, you've got newer tools like SourceGraph Cody that index your entire project. They build this giant searchable map of your whole code base, which lets them make these incredibly smart, context-aware suggestions. The trade-off is simple. It's speed versus depth. Okay, so the upside is obviously huge and powerful, but these gains don't come for free. Now we have to talk about the other side of the coin, the hidden costs. We're talking security, privacy, and that thing every developer dreads, technical debt. Let's kick things off with security, because this is a big one. A 2024 analysis from the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, or CISA, found that nearly a quarter of all AI-generated code had a security flaw in it. And here's the really scary part. The human developer who was reviewing it didn't even notice. So that's the crucial question. We're writing code way faster, but are we just writing vulnerable code faster too? This quote from Dr. Eleanor Saida really puts the whole problem into perspective. If we're scaling up our ability to create code, well, we could be scaling up our ability to create security holes at the exact same rate. It's a pretty sobering thought. All right, next up, privacy. What is happening to your company's secret code when you use these tools? This privacy scorecard from 2025 shows some pretty big differences. Now, check out Anthropic Claude. It's the only tool that makes you opt in to let it train on your code. Most of the others, including the market leader Copilot, they use an opt-out model. And that means they use your data by default, and it's on you to go find a setting somewhere and tell them to stop. For any company that's handling sensitive code, that is a huge, huge distinction. And this brings us right to the problem of technical debt. Look, one of the golden rules of good software engineering is the don't repeat yourself principle. You just call it dry. The idea is simple. Instead of copying and pasting the same code all over the place, you should make it into one reusable piece. But these AI assistants, they're so good at generating code right on the spot that they're making it way too easy for developers to just ignore this rule. And the data here is just wild. This analysis from GitClear is staggering. It found an 8-fold increase in duplicated code in just 2 years. Now, why does that matter? Well, it leads to these bloated code bases that are an absolute nightmare to maintain. Just imagine finding a bug and then realizing you have to go fix it in 20 different places because the code was just copied everywhere instead of being reused. It's a disaster waiting to happen. So, with all these pretty serious risks, should we just throw these tools out the window? No, not at all. The future isn't about choosing humans or AI. It's about figuring out the right way for them to work together. But that collaboration has its own weird challenges. Psychologists have this thing they call the human oversight paradox. It's a strange thing our brains do. The more we rely on an automated tool, the less we actually pay attention to what it's doing. We get supervision fatigue. We just start to trust the AI's output without really checking it. And that's exactly how those sneaky security flaws and bad code patterns slip right past us. But on the flip side, collaboration has this massive upside, especially when it comes to learning. Check out this study. It shows a fascinating trend. Look at mid-level developers. A whopping 82% reported that the tool actually helped them learn. For juniors, it's 67%. What this tells us is that these assistants are incredible force multipliers for getting less experienced engineers trained up and productive, which is a huge win for any team. Which, of course, leaves us with the ultimate question. Are these tools a partner, supercharging our productivity and helping us learn? Or are they a problem, quietly slipping in security flaws and creating mountains of technical debt? And the reality is, they're not one or the other. They're both. The real challenge is figuring out how to maximize the partner while minimizing the problem. And that leads us to this final thought about where all this is heading. You see, the role of the developer is changing and fast. In this new world, the most valuable skill might not be typing code as fast as you can. Instead, it's going to be the ability to think critically, to see the whole picture, and to ask the right questions, to articulate a problem so clearly that an AI can help you solve it. The developer is shifting from being a builder to being an architect. And that, right there, is a profound change for the entire future of software.